What a mess. Welcome, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That was the Hawk 3 Plus flying around in the front yard. First battery I flew with it. The video problems that you were seeing were just as bad in the goggles. The VTX on this thing is rough, to put it lightly. I'm super tempted to play around with this a little bit, but I don't know, man. It is awful hard to fly with the VTX like that, and I don't think I'm willing to swap in another VTX. So I'm not really sure what to do with this guy. I appreciate Emax sending it over, but man, yeah, I guess what I'll try is swapping the antenna out. If you're having signal strength with your video system problems, antenna is always the first spot. And I do know that these Emax antennas are not the greatest. But like, that was getting unflyable like 100 feet away. So I don't know how much an antenna is actually going to help that. The other thing that I need to do if I fly this again is fix the battery lead situation. They've got double pH 2.0 thing here, and then it ships with 1S 650s with pH 2.0. And then, but then the problem is you put these batteries in here, and the battery lead just goes right into the propellers, right? So like you put these batteries in here sideways, as you should, and look at the battery leads. The battery leads are like all up on this propeller. So the only way to do it is to take these batteries and rotate them vertically like this, and this is really bad for them. Like if you crash these so the inside of lithium polymer batteries are sheets, and so you stand those sheets up like this, and then every time you crash, you're taking those sheets that need to have as much contact between each other as possible, and you're mangling them all up. Even when you crank the battery strap down, when you tighten the battery strap down, it like buckles these batteries, which is really bad for them. So, yeah. If you were thinking about getting one of these, expect to fix the battery lead situation first and foremost. You're gonna cut this nonsense off, and you're gonna put either an XT30 here, or you could also do a BT 3.0, and yeah, find a battery with short leads that are going to clear this prop over here. I'm tempted to do all that and see what's going on with this. I think maybe I'll swap the antenna out first. If that makes it a little bit more flyable, more than like one house away, then maybe I'll start screwing around with it. It's a 2.5-inch frame, which is kind of fun. The motors are 1202.5s, a little bit small, 7,000 kV, a little bit low of a kV. But yeah, interesting little build. I appreciate Emax sending it over, but yeah, the video is just a little bit of a deal breaker at the moment. But again, maybe it's just the antenna. We'll play. If I think what I'll do is charge these back up once more, swap the antenna out, fly it again. If the video is way better, I'll cut this off, put something on it. I'll probably just put an XT30 on it because I have a bunch of XT32S batteries, and then strap a couple of those batteries to it, see how it is, and take it from there. So, yeah. Again, that's what you were watching at the beginning. Matter of fact, I'm going to put these batteries in the charger right now, because that will force me to basically do that. If there's charged batteries sitting here, I will fly them. That's how I force myself to do things, yo. There we go. And they're charging. Now I have no choice. In the chat, Douglas6 was not first. Cloudhopper was first. LO the Kiddison was second. Yamasor, Cloudhopper again. Frank Nicholas, Douglas6, there you are. Walter Van Den Ord, Robert G, Siskel FPV, Render, Northern Tier, Cactus, Smoking Dog Cujo, Beef FPV, Safe Zone FPV, Curtis Hayes, Morton Upshot, Gardo Rotor, Urban Beekeeper, and Yoki FPV, Porky Chop. Porky Chop. That's a good one. Porky Chop FPV. I don't know why. I don't know why that. I don't know why that's so funny. It just is. Porky Chop. It would not be nearly as funny if it was just Pork Chop FPV. It's funny because it's Porky Chop. Mick Bucus, Northern Tier, Scotty Scott, Thurberg 2500, Brandon's Baked Beans. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. Drones in as well. Tonight we're going to troubleshoot this little. Hey, by the way. This and another toothpick that I flew the other day have really reminded me one of the big things that I don't like about flying toothpicks. Basically, one of the I don't like flying rigs smaller than like these. Like for you know, so we've got tiny whoops, which are great. And then I kind of, many years ago, began to skip everything in between. I spent many years flying everything in between. 2-inch, 2.5-inch, 3-inch toothpicks, super light, 1S, 2S, eventually 3S. Once I found 4S, 3-inch, and 2.5-inch rigs, big power, school bus style frames with the camera up front, no props in view or very little props in view. You know, your receiver, your VTX in the back, and then your 20x20 stack in the middle, right? That's classic kind of school bus frame formula. Once I started flying these, I never looked back, and I never went back to toothpicks or anything kind of smaller than this, all the way down to toothpicks, and then tiny whoops, and then they're the best. This and a 1S toothpick very quickly reminded me that how annoying it is to You thought it was just going to be the one, didn't you? Yeah. When you crash and there's like one blade of grass or a leaf and the little tiny motors on your nice little lightweight rig don't have enough grunt to push that blade of grass out of the way and you have to walk your ass out there to get it, yeah, that's super annoying. If you don't crash much, if you don't fly hard and you're just, you know, doing the exploration kind of thing, I get it. But boy, oh boy, 1S, 2S, maybe even 3S rigs without prop guards. Oh boy, I don't think I have it in me for that. Look, it's just not, they're not for me. I fly too hard, I crash too often. And that's just me. You probably don't crash as often. You might fly as hard, but you probably don't crash as often. So yeah, I get asked a good amount, like, why don't I fly toothpicks anymore? There you go. I completely forgot about that side of it. And yeah. I think I flew the one battery on that, and then I think I might have flown 3 toothpick batteries, 3 1S toothpick batteries, and man, I've not taken so many walks of shame in a long time. So yeah, the flying tiny whoops outside thing, slowly but surely, is making more and more sense. And yeah, maybe we'll dive into 85mm tiny whoops one of these days. I don't know about that, but I will certainly not say anymore that if you want something bigger than a 75, build a toothpick, because yeah, toothpicks are just a different kind of thing. I think personally where I'm going to place toothpicks in my brain is like, they're for cruising. They're basically for long range. They're for micro long range, right? Super lightweight, super efficient. You don't really want to crash them. Perfect fit for kind of long range stuff. The problem is with like long range stuff, you usually want the footage to look good, and with a toothpick, you're going to have like motors and like entire propellers in the flight footage, which is usually not what you want. Yeah, if you don't want that, if you don't want to bring home footage from your long-range stuff, toothpick will work really well for that. So yeah, that's something that I've been forgetting to mention. So yeah, tonight we are going to troubleshoot this guy who has a motor back here that is twitching. And we'll talk all about it and what to do, what not to do, all that good stuff. Again, big shout out to Timmons. Oops, wrong one. For sending. Oh man, shit's in the way. Hold on. Where's the? There you go. I'm gonna switch these. Let's go. We'll go up here with this one. Oh man, the wide field of view of the camera is really freaking out right now. There we go. There it is. There it is. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me turn that back on. There we go. All right. Thank you, Timmons. Very cool of you. In the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV, or you can do a super chat if you want to support the insanity that is trying to do FPV full time as not like one of the 20 massive personalities here on YouTube. CiottiFPV.com has a whole bunch of different ways that you can support me. The best one is Patreon. They take the smallest percentage, and you're going to get a whole bunch of benefits too. You're going to get emails with all the live streams, 2 different Facebook groups, full Discord access. What else? There's a YouTube playlist with all kinds of really cool stuff. Patreon only live streams, sketchy flying, half done edits that I'm looking for advice from you guys on. Lots of good stuff going on over on the Patreon, and it's only $3 a month. That's 10 cents a day. Yo, help a brother out. Jump onto my Patreon. It'll make a big difference. And I guarantee you that you will save more than $3 a month, because I'll tell you when stuff sucks. And when you see that something sucks, if you were going to buy that thing, you just saved all that money. Etsy has some fun stickers and hardware that you can buy. Teespring has some fun shirts and apparel. Look, man, you're worth it. Buy yourself something nice. You have my permission. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. Just email me. Email me or message me. All this shit up here. Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, email, whatever. Message me somewhere. Facebook, shitbook. And then look at all these affiliate links, yo. You should be using affiliate links on all your orders. If you're not, you're hurting a content creator's life and killing their children. So don't do that. Don't kill children. Amazon, GetFPV, Pyro drone, Race Day quads, Newbie drone, Weebleed, BetaFPV, FPV cycle, oh my god, Brain 3D, HDZero, Flywoo, Emax, Banggood, Camera Butter, AliExpress. If you're ordering from one of those websites and you're not using someone's affiliate link, it's free money going literally down the actual toilet. At that company, they will take that money that they would have given to us, and they flush it down their goddamn toilets. Don't let that happen, man. Come on. Get real. You guys support me very well. I appreciate it. Keep it up. Easiest way to use affiliate links is to replace your bookmarks with the affiliate links. If you don't use bookmarks, you can change your you can change your URL bar suggestions when you start typing a website. This is what I'm laughing at. Oh shit! There he is. There he is. That is a cold, dead stare right there. If you can't laugh at yourself, man, who are you gonna laugh at? Me? Oh well, that's fine. Mailbag as well. Matter of fact. I stole that from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to them. They're the best car channel in the whole world. They really are. They're really the best car channel on YouTube. Go subscribe if you have any interest whatsoever in cars or engineering or just good content. These are... I'm just going to mix them all in. This is an order from Wrecked. And this is an order from... GetFPV. And yeah, I want some fresh stuff to create some content with, basically. Boy, the word content is douchey, isn't it? Content. 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 Also kind of insulting. This is art, motherfuckers! Content my ass. Look at this! Speaking of art... Hold on. Hold on. Speaking of art... Hold on. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this right. We're gonna do this right. Here we go. Oh man, no. Hold on. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it?
Yes, and I never had sex. It was physically impossible.
Freak!
It's true, I paid him money to be with him. And I'd do it again because he made me feel good about myself.
Behemoth!
And no one ever touched my feet before.
That's a huge bitch!
There it is.
Yes, and I never had sex.
Wait. This is a 6S 1700. It's as big as my forehead. It's actually not that big. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I forgot that quote was from Deuce Bigalow. I completely forgot about that. Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, a movie that only would have worked exactly when it came out. If that movie had come out 1 year later or 1 year earlier, it would have gotten boycotted. It just would not have worked. Look at this, man. Ha! Only 3 of them, but I think it was CMYK FPV was cool enough to send me one of these. So, yeah, these are the lightest 2207s. Heads Up FPV slash 533 2207 1960 kV. This is an exploration in lightweight 2207s. This might be the can Ciotti tell the difference between 2306s and 2207s on his own rig. I figured it made the 2207s have better response time than 2306s. Like end of conversation. They just do. And so there's a chance I'll actually switch to these motors. Probably not, because they probably make more power than I want. And I'm really happy with those Emax 2305.5s. But this motor weighs just the tiniest little bit more than my main 5-inch motor that I run on pretty much everything, other than the rig with those Amaxes, which is the T-Motor F40 Pro 4. This is a 2306 that's super lightweight. Matter of fact, these two have almost the same length motor cables on them. Oh man, this motor has a tiny little screw stuck to it. I'm glad that I saw that. Yeah, these have almost the same length leads. Let's weigh them. Let's get an actual weight. On the website, it says that this motor is less than 20 grams, which really shocked me, because 2207s are never. I'm sorry, less than 30 grams, because 2207s are never less than 30 grams. But with short, and I thought that meant with long wires, but it means with short wires. These little short leads, this thing is 29.2 grams with leads that are this short. With slightly longer leads, this T-Motor F40 Pro 4 is 28.49. That weight difference, this is like the lightest 2306, or the second lightest 2306. I'm pretty sure this is the lightest 2207. That weight difference there is a great example of why the 2207s make more power. They are a bigger stator. And they are also a taller stator. And additional height makes more power than additional width. Additional height makes more power. Additional width stays cooler and is more consistent. For my rigs, which are lightweight, 2207s are too much power. But they have better response time, which makes the PID loop work better, and just should make the rig feel a little bit more direct and more connected and blah, 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 all those other words. So, yeah, this will be cool. And if I can fly with somebody else, I can even do a blind test with this. And we can shut its blunty up. No, that's not what this is about. I know that's what a bunch of you were like, yo, you gotta do it. You gotta do it to shut blunty up. I'm like, no, I love him. I'm not. He has a great point when he says that you can't tell the difference between 2207s and 2306s. And 99% of people, I'm going to say, can't. I'm going to say 90% of people can't. But I'm pretty sure that I can. If nothing else, then the 2207s make more power. And it's kind of easy to tell when a rig's making more, when your own rig is all of a sudden making more power. But, you know, keep in mind that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can or can't tell the difference. There is a difference. And it's very straightforward, and it's just what I said. More power, 2207. More cooling, 2306. That's it. No reason to get all wild with it. Make sense? These motors have nothing to do with this battery. This battery is for these shockingly cheap motors that I've been looking for a long time. I've been looking for a big motor that's high kV for a long time, and I did not. I stopped looking at eco motors a long time ago because I'm a goddamn snob, and also though because titanium motor shafts do last longer than stainless steel. And I have found time and time again that I save money running premium motors because the motor shaft lasts so much longer, the motors last a lot longer, and I have to replace them a lot less often. And they're not that much extra money. But Emax makes a 2807 1700 kV motor. All of these big ass motors, 28 whatever, they're all like 1300 kV, 1200 kV, 1000 kV, and that works on like 7-inch and 8-inch propellers. It does not work on 5-inch and 5.5-inch propellers. And this rig over here is meant to go real fast, and so at some point I will probably get 7-inch arms for it to try that out. But in the interim, I want to try super pitchy 5-inch props, Gemfan 5152s. Also super pitchy 5.5-inch props, Gemfan 5552s. And these are the motors that I want to try those on. And that's what this giant R-Line version 1 battery is for, is these big-ass motors. And to really drive the point home as to how big these motors are, look at them compared to a 2207. 2207's a big-ass motor. I'm not, like, holding one closer to the camera either. I'm not like, oh, look at that. Look how big it is. Oh! Like, these are right next to each other. It is, like, it's so ridiculous. Like, to look at these two, I don't know. Like, I've never really gone down the big-ass motor rabbit hole. And this is only a 2807. There's, you know, 30s and 31s and shit. This is crazy, though. This is a giant motor. So I'm actually, like, really looking forward to this. This should be really cool. I did get 5 of these because they were cheap, and because I do plan on flying that rig hard, and so it is going to crash. And, yeah, if you're going to crash a rig and you've only bought 4 motors, you're high on crack. Stop it. Stop being high on crack. Buy 5 motors minimum, maybe 6. You're going to break motors. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but motors are going to break over and over and over and over and over again. And that's okay. Because I said so. I don't know why that's okay. That's just like the receipt and some stickers and whatnot. Again, I've just mixed these 2 orders up. I don't know what comes through. What I did learn, though, in case this is important to you, is that Rekt has a great selection. WREKD. They have a great selection. Jesus. But they're not. I don't think they have a warehouse. I think they're just basically like a drop ship house. So the stuff from my Rekt order has come from 4 or 5 different places. So like if you need everything to arrive at once, you might want to go with GetFPV or RDQ or Pyro drone or Newbie drone. If you order from Rekt, again, you can do one big order with a bunch of stuff that you want. They have a great like hand-picked selection of parts, but they're gonna come from all over the place. For example, this battery came from Newbie drone. The box that arrived today came from Race Day Quads. There was another box from, I think there was another box from GetFPV maybe. So yeah, just keep that in mind if that matters to you. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care how many boxes show up on the doorstep. It's all great. So yeah. What else we got in here? Some little tiny Lumineer battery straps. Finding thin battery straps like this is actually really difficult. And GetFPV has them. These are the straps that I use for 4S 850 mAh batteries. And yeah, these are nice and thin. So I actually got a whole bunch of these. I also snagged some of these. These have been out of stock forever. These are the QAV Cine, the little 2.5-inch rig that I was doing a lot of cycling chasing with, battery straps. And they're elastic, and then they've got like a nice central part. I don't know, they're just really cool. And they've been out of stock, and they fit that frame perfectly, which is cool. In my GetFPV order, I got a bunch more Runcam Nano 3s with the bare wires. I'm basically just afraid that the Runcam Nano 3s are going to, at some point here, be gone forever. I don't have any real confidence that there's, like, a big extra supply of them that we're going to be able to buy for the next couple of years. I think a year from now, the Runcam Nano 3s are going to be long gone. So I've been spending some money trying to buy them. Every time I do an order, I try to buy 1 or 2 of them, so that I have, I'd love to have like 10, and then I have them forever. I'm I'm not confident that anybody is ever going to put out an analog camera that is this lightweight and also will fit the old school Mobula 6 canopies. So yeah, like I hate to spend so much money on analog anything, but these cameras are magic, and you know, they look great. They're super light. They fit the right canopy, and so I've tried a lot of other cameras, and none of them can really hold a candle. Couple of sets of Gemfan Hurricane 4937s. This is their higher pitch 4.9-inch propeller. The 4934 is really good, but I'm curious as to what a little bit of extra pitch will do. And so I'm going to find out with those. Another couple of those elastic straps. Another few of the thin Luminaire straps. It's little, like, I know it seems like kind of petty, but like, believe it or not, it's the little stuff like this, like these really thin but long enough for 4S850 battery straps, that like at this point in FPV for me, this is like the most exciting thing in this entire order, because like a proper battery strap that like, yeah, the exact right battery strap is amazing. Especially when like with those cycling rigs, like I'm taking batteries off and on, you know, I'm doing like 50, 60, 70 battery changes per day with those rigs. And so like the right battery strap actually does matter. In case you're like, what a fucking nerd, man. Gemfan 1610 1mm motor shaft propellers. For whatever reason, I only had like one set of these left. I've kind of moved over a little bit more to the HQ ultralight 1.6-inch prop, but these are just nice to have. And I do want to do a little bit more of a comparison between the Gemfan and the HQ. I've already compared them enough to kind of like know, but and it's basically just that the HQ prop is lighter but makes a little bit less thrust. But now that I have a couple extra of those, I'll be able to really nail that down. Here's another set of those. So yeah, if you want more power, Gemfan 1610. If you want better response time, HQ. Sub 250 set of 0803 19,000 kV motors. I'm actually really excited about these. Maybe we will bolt one. No, I'll save that for Whoop Wednesday. Wednesday of this week, we will spin one or two of these motors up on my little test rig setup, and we will see how they... No, we won't, because I haven't done it with 2S yet. At some point, I will do 2S testing, like I did the 1S RPM testing, and then we will check these out. Maybe, I mean, I did test another motor that was 19,000 kV, so maybe we will. Maybe we will do a quick 1S test on these, but I did not get these for 1S. These are only going to be used on 2S. 19,000 kV on 1S. There's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do with that. That is an awful low RPM. You're going to have to pair that with like a 2-inch propeller to get any real significant power out of it. Look at these little guys. What a cute little motor. 803, sub 250, 1900 kV. Sub 250 is the name of the company. Not to be confused with Sub 250 FPV on Instagram. That's a whole different person. Yeah, man, 803s. Super exciting. 803, for anybody that hasn't been keeping score, has the potential to be like the motor for 75mm builds, both analog and especially walk snail. So, yeah, this is actually super exciting, to be really honest with you. Oh, that was a stupid thing to do. I just created a mess. Oh my god. Why did I smash the box down? What a dummy. Oh well. I just fired screws absolutely everywhere. And then here's another set of the HQ Ultralight 1.6-inch bi-blades. Because, you know, when I'm doing an order on a website, I go through the prop section and I'm just like, yeah, I love propellers. I love buying shit. In the box from Newbie Drone was a set of their new holographic stickers. Pretty cool. And then we've got, hey, this is the HDLRC Spectre. So on Whoop Wednesday, what we might... Oh, wait, no. This is for the HDL... Okay, yeah, no, this is good. This is kind of why I'm doing this troubleshoot tonight. This HDLRC Spectre is our backup AIO for this rig that we're going to be troubleshooting tonight. If we find that the AIO is blown up on this guy, this is an X12 AIO, we're going to switch it over to the Spectre, the HDLRC Spectre. This is the Happy Model AIO that we're going to try on the 2S rig that Timmons very kindly sent over. So, yeah, this guy goes back here, because this is where the 2S build is. There we go! Another set of those HQ ultralight bi-blades, and then a couple more micro Vs. I think this is enough to where I'm good on the micro Vs for a while. And then one more of the Emax Superleggera 2305.5 1950 kV motors, because for some reason I didn't get any extras for that test bed rig. And there you go, my friends. That is my mailbag. How did my mailbag look tonight? Did it look good? Did it look oh god, never mind. I will not. Yikes. These guys go up there. These guys go up there. These are the GemFan 1610s. Alright, I've made a mess, my friends. Give me 1 second. I've made a gigantic mess. Big battery. You can hang out there. Don't burn the house down, please. Runcam Nano 3s. I think I needed one of these to direct solder, but whatever. Go back in the tiny whoop case. Look at the size of these goddamn motors, yo. Motors. Look at these motors. The motors that are on that rig that are going to be coming off of it will probably be for sale. And they are 2506, 2507 maybe? 2507. Yeah. 2507. Again, this is me reminding myself. Yay! Yeah, Brother Hobby, either 2506 or 2507. So if you're looking for that size motor, I have a set for sale sooner than later. 533 motors are going to go on someone. Hey, down here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, I just realized a potential issue, which is that the analog rig up here has the Emax 2305.5s on it. Balls. Well, whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll figure something out. And then looks like Rect sent a battery strap. I thought I just heard my phone vibrate. Very cool little Rect. Looks like it's one of those Kevlar reinforced battery straps that are supposed to like never break. Unfortunately, they're heavy. I run lightweight battery straps, and as long as you run 2 of them, they're fine. Every once in a while, a plastic buckle will break, but I've never broken both of the plastic buckles. I've only ever broken one. Yeah, there's the Kevlar threading. So yeah, that's a nice battery strap. I'll put it on the inside of my case, of my flight bag, rather, as I do with all the battery straps. Very cool, Rect. Like I said earlier, great part selection. Really, really, really good stuff. Whoever is, yeah, they've got somebody that knows what's what, that is choosing those I thought that I ordered... I think there still might be one package that hasn't arrived, because I could have sworn that I ordered some of their quad gas 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries. Maybe they were out of stock, though. Let's see real quick. 300. That'll find it. Or not. Christ. Let's search for quad gas. Let's just search for gas. Yeah, there we go. No, they're in stock. What the hell? Did I forget to put them on the order? That's super annoying. Oh, man. Well, next time. Next time I order from them, I'll get a set of these, and we'll see if they're any different. They say that they're 320 mAh, but I just don't buy it. I mean, I could totally be wrong, but it really seems like all of the folded cell BT 2.0 batteries are exactly the same. I hope that I'm wrong. It would be nice if I was wrong, but I don't think I am, unfortunately. Great design on the sticker, too. It's quad gas. Quad gas! Yeah, man. Rect seems to be doing a great job. I hear a lot of people talking about him, and that's hard to do. Alright. Let me get caught up on the Chad, and then we will dive into troubleshooting things. Urban Beekeeper says, howdy, partner. What's up, dude? And Ioki says, what's good? It's my dad's birthday, but I wanted to stop and say hi to all the crew. It's very cool of you, Anioki. Northern Tier says, wonder if the VTX is FCC locked to 25 milliwatts on that Emax. I had to unlock mine first use. Good fucking call, Northern Tier. Good call. I did go into the VTX table. Sorry, the OSD features VTX, and it was 200 milliwatts, but I don't know. Emax is notorious for not making great VTXs, much like BetaFPV. And so I didn't really think to troubleshoot it. I just kind of like, oh, here we go again, sort of thing, which is not necessarily super fair. Let's try this. Let's type into the Google machine Tiny Hawk 3 VTX unlock. Let's see how good Google is. Unlock Emax Tiny Hawk. Of course, Reddit has something. PSA: Tiny Hawk 3 range issues. Poor range solution. Plug in your battery. Connect to VetaFlight. Go to the VTX tab. Check the level value. Wow. What? I believe Emax misconfigured the VTX settings from the factory. Oh, Jesus. Alright. Well. Oh, look at that. If you select the 100 milliwatt setting, you will totally avoid the issue. Well, let's try it. We'll do it right now. We will do it right goddamn now. I will show you how to do this, just in case you have one of these. And it'll take like 60 seconds. Plugging it in. Man, the beauty of the internet. Type your question into Google and someone has answered it already on Reddit. Always. Come on! Come on! Come on! BetaFlight, you can do this. There you go. Connect! Video transmitter. And let's take a look. Check the label values, level values and label values. They should say 14, 20, 23. What? There we go. They should say 14, 20, 23, and 25. 100, 200, respectively. Change 23 to 26. This number in functional and reflects dB. Change 23 to 26. Nope. We are already on 26. So that is not my issue. It could still totally be locked. I forget how to change that. I was hoping somebody would say how to change that. Change 14, 20, 23, 14, 20, 26. Yeah, so this has been fixed already. change 200 to 400. This number is non-functional. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Set VTX power to 400. Also, the VTX to go fly the drone. Yeah, no, that's so we're good. We've already done this. What else you got for me? It worked for that guy. That guy, it worked for him. All right, Reddit did not. Hey. 7 seconds when powering it on to unlock. Yikes. Alright, well, let's try it. Is there a button on the VTX? Where's the button on the VTX? Don't you even tell me that there's no access to the button without pulling the thing apart. Don't you even do it. Don't you dare tell me that. Boy, I can't see shit anymore, man. I have to use this little 5x loop all the time. There's the button. All right, we're going to try it. Plastic jib jab. So the button is in between the two boards, but I should just be able to... Yep. Okay, so I can hold it down with this plastic bastard. And... pull these batteries real quick. So apparently you got to hold it for 7 seconds, eh? That sounds dumb. All right, so now the impossible task of holding a button down while plugging a battery in begins. Like the olden days, man. Boy, do I not miss this. All right, but this is cool. I can, like... Alright, I got the button held down. I, like, just made a little lever with this thing. So, button is held down. Plugging in power. Don't try this at home. The props are definitely removed. And I'm just going to hold the button down for a long time. And then, next time I fly it, maybe it'll be better. I can't really test it. Like, I have to go outside to test it, you know what I mean? That has definitely been 7 seconds, right? Like, that has to have been 7 seconds. Everybody says you just have to do it once. That's great. All right. I did it. I'll let you know. Good call, dude. Fucking A. It's been so long. That used to be, like, common knowledge, you know? And now it's not really all that common. Or... knowledge? Cool. That would be dope. I would absolutely love that if I didn't have to change the antenna out. But I am going to have to swap this ridiculous situation here out. And when I do that, I will lose this little capacitor, which hopefully will be okay. Apparently, when you put the capacitors here at the battery leads, they don't do anything anyway. Because the batteries serve as a capacitor, basically. So hopefully, yeah, when I remove this capacitor, the electrical system won't get super noisy and lose its goddamn mind. BetaFPV says you have to unlock it, but look at you all, you OG bastards, knowing and remembering all of the old tricks. I'm very impressed. I didn't even have to look it up on the damn internet, but now you know how I solve a lot of problems with these, which is just to type the question into Google. BetaFPV says you have to unlock it by holding the button on the VTX while plugging it in to get anything other than 25 milliwatts. Thank you, brother. I'll be honest, though. It, like, flying one house down in clear air in front of the house on 25 milliwatts on the tiny whoops is completely fine. So, but I know that a lot of these tiny whoops, the actual output is way higher. Maybe on this, 25 milliwatts is actually 25 milliwatts. But yeah, I mean, it was flying like it was almost in pit mode. Like it was pretty bad. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be way better. Thank you, fellas. Brandon's Baked Bean says that nano Emax antenna sucks. Yeah, speaking from experience. After you replace it, open it and you'll probably laugh when you see how rough it is. Really nice. I will do that for sure because I'm never gonna use it. I've heard that they're really bad. Porky Chop says, Porky Chop for my dog. That's what I call him, among other things. Glad I got a laugh. Nice. Space. I thought it said Spaceman Spliff. It's Spaceman Spiff, another great, some fucking great YouTube names tonight. Sleepy CBR says, what's up? YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up to try to find my place. Nice. O'Houlihan13 says, any clue where to find CLI dump for Mobula 6 2024 Eco? Watch this, O'Houlihan. Watch this. This might work. Bing, bang, boom. You're fired, Bob. Ah, damn it. It didn't quite work. But if you go to Happy Model's website and you use their little search and search for Mob 6 2024 CLI, it'll probably find it. Nothing found. You can message Happy Model and Jason will probably get back to you. They are awesome. It's probably here in the support part of their website, but good luck finding it. It's not organized all that well, this part of their website, but it's got a lot of really good info in it. Yeah, they don't have it linked on the product page. Sometimes they'll link it on the product page. I'll bet you it's in there somewhere. It's just going to be tough to kind of find it. This is from a year ago, so this would not be the 2024. Here's somebody talking about the VTX table. There might also be a link. Bang. There you go. That's your diff. Dump file Mobula 6 2024. .text. You can just well, yeah, here you go. Set. See, these all have set. You can just copy and paste this, dump it into the CLI, and then just hit type. Oh, he's got save in here as well. So yeah, this is it. Highlight all this, dump it into the CLI, and you'll be good. Here comes the link to the Reddit thread with the link to that. There you go. What's next? What do we got? Brandon's Baked Bean says, I tell my wife I want to drain a couple packs and produce some content. There you go. That's it. Yamasaur says, have you seen the HDZero AIO on 65mm with 40,000 kV motors that Skittles had? It was under 20 grams with motor plugs. Will you try it? For sure. I've been looking for a reason to run HDZero forever. I've tried HDZero before, and it's a little bit better than analog, but with a 5 gram weight penalty, it's not worth it. It's not better than analog enough. If it's less than 20 grams, what that means to me is that it's 19.9 grams. But still, even at let's just say 20, even at 20 grams, that is only like a 3 or 4 gram weight penalty over the lightest weight analog rigs that we've got. And that is a small enough weight penalty for sure to justify running HDZero. So yeah, I that is awesome. I know that some folks in the Tiny Whoop community have been testing that board with HDZero. It's very, very cool stuff. I don't have any information on it, but I know that it exists, which is awesome. White Fox is in the house. What's up, homie? He says, I love mine 6-inch and 7-inch rigs. That battery, very cool. Dave S right above that says best beast battery. Tattu R-lines, in my opinion, are the best batteries. They're a little bit more expensive than China Hobbyline and GNB, but they are almost always lighter than them, and they maintain better voltage to the end of the battery. The problem with that, and what some people don't like about Tattu R-line batteries, is they drop off a cliff at the end. They don't really drop off a cliff, but they don't do this like a China Hobbyline or a GNB. China Hobbyline and GNB do this, and so like throughout the course of the battery, you feel it getting more and more saggy. The R-lines kind of do this, and then they sort of do that. Look, you've got OSD. It's your responsibility to check your OSD. Keep an eye on your battery voltage every 30 seconds. Just glance down at it. Get used to doing that. And the batteries falling off a cliff at the end of their life will not be a problem anymore. because you should know good and well when your battery is about to fall off the cliff. If you don't, it's kind of on you. There's also like a weird subtext there of people trying to basically say that you get less runtime, essentially. You don't. You get better power for more of your runtime. You know what I mean? Like, if you were doing a long-range mission and you lost the rig because the battery ran out, a GNB 1706S and an R-Line 1706S, it's no different. With the R-Line, you're going to have more power throughout the battery, but it's going to last the same amount of time. So, yeah, get that out of your heads. The other really nice thing about the R-Line batteries is they're very lightweight. They are basically as light as Thunder Power batteries, but they are significantly less expensive. With Thunder Power batteries, yeah, you get like the weight and the performance of an R-Line, but a crazy price point. Maybe because they're sponsored by people that, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I've run all these batteries. I've run many of all these batteries, and the R-Lines are consistently the ones that, for the price, outperform all the rest. You know, if I'm going to pay $40+ for a 6S 1100 or 1300, it better goddamn well be way better than the $30 R-Line version 1 or version 4 or version 5 or whatever. And they just aren't. They aren't really any better. And to be honest, they seemed to be more fragile. As in, like, if you over discharge it, it really seems to hurt those Thunder Power batteries. You got to like really sort of baby those batteries. It feels like the R-Lines you don't have to baby nearly as much. I will say though that you can be straight up evil to China Hobby Line and GNB batteries, and they will like keep living more so than the R-Line. So like it's kind of a sliding scale of like how awful you can be to your batteries. The cheaper batteries you can kind of be worse to. So if you're the type of person that over discharges your batteries all the time, stop doing that. Fix the warnings in your OSD. Put the warnings in the middle and put the warning voltage higher so that it starts screaming at you earlier. And stop over discharging your batteries. You thought I was going to say buy China Hobby Line and GNB batteries, didn't you? No. Buy the better batteries that are only a little bit more expensive and are significantly lighter, that give you better like sag resistance, and fix your insane habit of over discharging the batteries. I say that as someone who over discharged batteries all the goddamn time. And then when I started doing that to these Tiny Whoop folded cell BT 2.0 batteries, they would die very quickly. And I would have a set of batteries. I'd be like, I've only cycled this battery 20 times or so, and it's already like totally shit the bed. This is back in the days when I was live streaming from Maggie's rental house with that really cool dive down the front of the stairs and then the corkscrew stair dive. Yeah, that was when these BT 2.0 folded cell batteries kind of first came out. And man, they were not lasting very long. And I talked to a bunch of other people, and they're like, no, they're fine. What do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cooking these things in like 10 cycles. What the fuck's going on? And yeah, it was just because I was being too mean to batteries. And all it took was raising the warning voltage up a little bit and just being a little bit more cognizant of like when the warnings pop up, not just ignoring them. Like, actually being like, oh, okay, let me start working my way towards home. I'll do a couple tricks on the way back, but, like, turn the fuck around. Don't stay out there, and then certainly don't go back out, right? Like, when you get that warning, head towards home and do some fun shit on the way home if you're desperate, but then come home. Don't, like, get back to home and be like, oh, it's at 3.51 volts. It's fine for 5 more minutes. Like, no, land and swap the battery out. You're good. Yamasaur says, nope, we got that. BetaFPV says, also put Emax support response to the terrible video range on my TH3 Freestyle in general nonsense on Discord. Fixed it for me, and now I can go at least 300 yards on 400 milliwatts with a stock antenna. I'm laughing because 300 yards on 400 milliwatts is like nothing. 400 milliwatts should be able to go 300 kilometers. So I wonder. I think Beef is being funny by saying that. If you're not being funny by saying that, Beef, for the record, a true 400 milliwatts on a decent set of antennas on both the quad and the goggles will go forever. If you know this, you know, I'm saying this for the newer folks. But yeah. Timon says, what's your preferred way to run the battery lead on a glide frame, side, back, front? That's what she said. Work, Matt, looking great too. Thanks to you, brother. It is out the side. It keeps the cable as short as possible, and it also keeps it out of the propellers. So if you didn't know, this battery lead is hysterically heavy. So believe it or not, keeping this battery lead as short as possible can save you 5 to 10 grams. People that run this battery lead all the way out the back here and then loop it up and then like run it all the way to the front and then plug it into the battery, that's crazy. That's like 10, 15 extra grams of wire. That's silly. Solder these leads on sideways in most frames. Run it either in front, or you can sometimes run it behind this standoff. In my case, there's not enough room here, right? I can't run it back behind there. I do kind of like to run it behind this standoff, because when you run it behind this standoff, you can zip tie it to this standoff as strain relief. Although, to be honest, you kind of don't need to. Just the fact that like it's behind the standoff and it's going to have a tight, it's going to be going the opposite direction, but it's going to have a tight bend like that. If this gets pulled from the battery ejecting, it kind of puts most of the stress here. It transfers a little bit of the stress to the battery pads, but you know, this is silicone, so it's going to like grip this standoff, and so it's going to take the majority of the impact. I've never ripped a battery lead. I've been doing this forever, and I have never had a battery lead rip off here, and I've had a bunch of batteries eject. And again, usually I put this behind that standoff, and then it just makes the angle like that. And then, so what happens from here is that the top plate sits here, and then the battery lead goes forward. I'll show you with a tiny little battery. Obviously, this is not a battery that I run on a full-size 5-inch glide, but this is how I set the battery up with the lead on the side here. So the battery lead is here, the balance lead is here. This is going to protect the balance lead because it's kind of tucked in here. And then the battery lead on big batteries is longer than this. It wraps around like this. It keeps wrapping around, and it plugs in like that. So this guy comes up, and they plug in there together. And I also put this under the battery strap. So this guy sits pretty much exactly like that, right? The top plate is going to be right on top of here. So the top plate sits there, and then this guy is going to tuck up against the battery. You know, these leads are just long enough. They end up looking like that. They go out a little bit and around the top plate. And then my battery strap goes over this, so this isn't flopping out in the breeze. And then, so this is held tight to the battery. And then, like I said, this battery is on the front. The balance lead is protected because it's tucked in here. This is all protected because there's a GoPro sitting up here. So this, all this shit is tucked in behind the GoPro so that you're not ruining your battery leads on the concrete when you crash, right? The back of the battery is what takes a bunch of the impacts when you hit back here, and the back of the battery you can hit a bunch of times and it'll keep going and going and going. When you mount your batteries like this, when you hit on the rear, it'll break the balance lead and the battery will explode, or it'll rip the shit out of these guys on the concrete, and then there's not a great way to repair them. It's just, to me, so much better to run the battery like this and to protect the wires with the actual GoPro and the GoPro holder. Why didn't I just grab this one? There you go. So the battery sits like that, and then all that shit tucks in there, right? You've got this little bit of wasted space in the corner here, you know, because the battery won't fit up. So what makes more sense? Having the battery like that, where there's nothing in that wasted space, or having the battery like this, where you can use that wasted space to protect the wires, right? Although, to be honest, I end up pushing the battery back a little bit to even out the center of gravity. I run pretty lightweight batteries, so I usually end up with my 6S 1050s sitting back like that, and then there's a bigger gap here. So it's not really wasted space, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, regardless, running the battery with the leads back like this leaves you with a lot of mangled battery wires, and that can easily burn yo shit down. So, in my opinion, don't do that. You do you, though. Hey, I've got some small 6S batteries for sale. A 550 GNB, a 650 R-line, a 550 skinny fat GNB, and a 550 skinny fat R-line. They're all XT30, as they should be for micros. So if you want to go down the 6S micro train, those are the hot batteries to do that. One of those batteries was cycled twice. And on the second cycle, the ESC blew up. And then I said, you know what? I'm sticking with 4S. So, but there's lots of people that run 6S micros with no problems at all. So I'm sure that I just got unlucky. I mean, I'm not sure of it, but it's probably what happened. Wilkening says, how do you install your brass inserts on the ducts of the Cinesplore? I built a Cinesplore 2, and when I was pressing them into the duct with a soldering iron, it was hard for them to not wobble. Great question, Wilkening. I think you asked me this on like Instagram, and I said, yo, can you please ask me on a stream, because it's like an important kind of thing. Where is an extra Cinesplore duct? Hey! Alright, so here's what we're talking about. The really good Cinesplore ducts, which are actually kind of harder to find now. These HQ poured Stan FPV ducts, I don't know if you can get them anymore, but they're floating around out there. You might be able to find a set. They do not come with these brass inserts. They just come with the plastic kind of threaded, and then they give you these big long M2 screws, and the first time you crash, they strip out. So it's super annoying. Putting these brass inserts in is really not very difficult. You just have to know the trick. The real trick is to go on... actually, I'm going to need this to show you this. The real trick is to go on Amazon and search for brass insert soldering iron tips and spend a couple of bucks, $8.95, on a set of these tips. And one of these tips is going to be M2. It's going to be the smallest one, right? So I think this is the one that I actually bought. Hopefully your soldering iron will work with these tips. Look that up. It works with the Hacko, and it works with this cheap Weller. If you don't have the Hacko, look, this Weller, this is what I ended up getting because I don't have the Hacko, and I wasn't sure if they were going to fit my nice Weller soldering iron. This is all you need right here. Yeah, man, it went up in price. I think it used to be, there we go, 24 bucks. So this is the Weller. It's just a straight up plug-in garbage soldering iron, but it does have little LEDs in the front, which are kind of nice. But yeah, it's not a good soldering iron. But for 25 bucks for that guy, hopefully you have a soldering iron that's compatible. But if you don't, 25 bucks here, and then 9 bucks here. And the brass insert, the brass collar, will fit perfectly on there, and that'll fix some of the wobbling issues. That being said, you can do it with your regular soldering iron and the regular soldering iron tip. It's just a little bit harder. The big tip is to pre-drill. Hold on, I still have the drill bits sitting out on the workbench. All right. Ah, doggy, look out. All right, so here's what you want. You want to pre-drill them out with 3/32 and 7/64. I'm going to show you in a second. There's the Weller soldering iron. There's the little tip on it. Well, here, no, hold on. There you go. There's a little tip. I've done a couple of these now, so it's starting to get a little bit dirty. But yeah, there's the little setup with the little Weller. And it's just a Edison, not Edison plug. It's just a regular home plug. And so this is what you want to do right here. So it's the two ones with the tape on them. So 3/32 and 7/64, and you want to put a little bit of tape so you don't drill too deep in there. And you can see I'm drilling this one ever so slightly deeper than that one. You don't have to get that insane. I've just done a bunch of these. And so yeah, you're gonna drill it. You're gonna drill it a little bit, 3/32 and a little bit 7/64, and that is gonna let the collar get started. If you don't do that, and the other thing that it does is it removes some plastic. The brass collar is like this. It's just a little tube that's open on both ends. So if you just push that open tube into a bunch of plastic, the plastic is gonna melt under the brass bastard, and then it's gonna come up through the hole in the brass thing, and you need to put the screw through that hole. So you really do want to pre-drill it to remove some of the plastic. Otherwise, you're going to clog the hole up. And like, you'll still have a little bit of thread available, but you won't have a lot of thread available. And the real problem is, if there's plastic up in the threads and you start cranking that M2 screw down, you're going to pull the collar right the hell out. So you really do want to remove enough material so that the screw can actually go all the way through the brass collar. So yeah, that's the biggest tip, is to screw it out. To drill it out. Screw it out. Great. But there's another massive trick to getting the collars flat, which is to put it almost all the way in and then flip it over and push it against your work surface. So you never push the collar completely flush. I left this out for a reason. You never, with your soldering iron, you never get the collar so that it's completely flush. You leave the collar up by about like a millimeter. So you take your soldering iron, you run it, well, here. Take your soldering iron. It's going to start off with the collar up here. You push it down. Once it gets to where, and it happens quick. Once you get it to the point where the collar is almost completely flat, you pull the soldering iron and you push it down flat. And the collar will maintain enough heat that it pushes it in the rest of the way, so it's completely flat. But at the same time, if that collar was in there a little bit sideways, when you flip this over, it's going to flatten it out. It's going to take it from sideways, and you're going to push that one side, and it's going to completely flatten that collar out. And that's super important, because underneath these is like a 3 or 4 or 5 millimeter arm that you're running an M2 screw up. So if this thing is sideways, it's going to be a real nightmare, and it might not even thread. It might just immediately cross thread and ruin the collar. And that's how you do it. And I mean, that's how you put these threaded collars in lots of stuff. You can use these on all kinds of DIY projects. They're super easy to work with. And you can put them into molded plastic. They work really well with 3D printed stuff. The 3D printing community actually has a jig to hold that soldering iron. Like you can 3D print this tower, because again, people in that community use these a lot. And it's this tower that holds that soldering iron perfectly level, and then it's got like a thing that you can raise it and lower it, almost like a drill press. But you don't need all that. You just need to drill it out a little bit, push it in, not all the way, flip it over, and push it hard against the desk, and that'll seat it the rest of the way. And then you need to look down the hole, and hopefully you don't have a bunch of plastic in there. If you have a bunch of plastic in the threads, you're kind of screwed. Don't do it wrong on the next one. You can try to remove it, but yeah, life becomes much more difficult if you've not drilled enough of the plastic out and the plastic is oozing up into the hole. Ideally, you don't want the plastic to do that at all. Ideally, you want to push it down and have the hole just be all the way straight through so you can run the screw all the way through the brass collar and then a little bit extra. But that's tough to do. Drunzen says, you made my dog look at the TV funny when you did the mooters. LOL. Hopefully he just looked funny at the TV again. CMYK says, yee yee, what's up, CiottiFPV and Gagly Gang? J Monk says, I have a Mamba MK4 F740 for my Tank S. Was trying to flash for a new firmware, but it seems to be stuck in Betaflight. Can't get into DFU mode. Can't connect via Betaflight. Suggestions? If it won't go into DFU mode, the first thing you want to do is look for a boot button on the flight controller, and you're going to hold that boot button down while you plug USB in to the flight controller, and that'll force it into DFU mode. If that doesn't work, I'm not really sure. Keep trying. Sometimes these flight controllers can be real pains in the ass. And if you just keep trying and like go to sleep and then wake up and try again, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, it'll magically work. So try that. Where the hell was I? Oh man, YouTube did the thing and I'm all screwed up on the chat. Hold on. Wait, no, I was good. There we go. No, we're fine. We're fine. Jacob Russell crashed his Mobile 7 earlier, and now I see purple in the lens. Did I break up my shit? I'll betcha that purple is everything purple, or is it just kind of purple up in the corners? If it's just purple up in the corners, it was there and you didn't notice it, and then you crashed it hard, and you were like, shit, I crashed that really hard. I'm sure I broke something. And then confirmation bias was like, hey, here's a thing that's not perfect. That must have been caused by it. If everything is purple, more specifically, if everything is pink, that is the UV filter. Inside of all camera sensors are very sensitive to ultraviolet light. And so on the back of pretty much every lens or on the front of every sensor, they'll put a pink anti-UV coating or filter sheet, and that filters out that UV light. If you crash hard enough, sometimes you can knock that filter off, at which point the camera is pretty much dead. I mean, technically, you might be able to screw the lens off of the camera, find the little filter, get it perfectly centered without getting any horrible fingerprints all over it, and put like a little bit of glue on there or something like that. But realistically, you're going to throw that camera away because A, you're not going to get the lens off. B, you're not going to get the lens back on. C, you're not going to ruin the sensor. You're not going to not ruin the sensor by fucking around with it like that. D, whatever glue you use is going to off gas and fuck everything up in there. It's just, yeah. But there's a big run of Runcam Nano 3s that have a little bit of purple up in the corners. And it's, you know, kind of is what it is. It's analog. It looks like ass anyway. But if everything is pink, that's not that. Brandon Bean says, I've worked on a couple of those 2.5-inch Cinequad micro whoops, including a build. I'm finding those silicone-coated ponytail hair ties work great. For 4S 550s and is lighter than straps. That's very cool. I used to run those on all the little tiny toothpicks that I had. I would double them up. I haven't run those in forever, though. Good call. J-Monk says, I have a Mamba MK4. We got that one. Okay, yeah, I was like reading these backwards. Adam Weston says, I think those 2807s have a bigger bolt pattern. Very curious what you find. I've got those motors on my 4S 7-inch AOS 7 working well. I didn't think to look at that. You son of a bitch. Yeah, that is absolutely a different bolt pattern. God damn it, dude. Well, wait a second. Ah! Ah! Nope. They're the regular holes. God damn it. Alright, well, not run them on. CMYK says, yo, I picked up my 2 DogCom batteries. And they got the juice versus my Tattu batteries. Would recommend. Do they have the juice because they're brand new and the tattoos are not? Tell us more. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those motors now. God damn it. I was kind of thinking of maybe getting an AOS 7 anyway and just tearing that rig apart and dropping it into an AOS 7. I'm sure that the 7-inch arms for that will have the bigger bolt pattern. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna message Bob and I'm gonna say, hey man, I'm so sorry to be a big pain in the ass, but can you please send me those ARM files? Which he's already done. He sent me the 7-inch ARM files for the Glide. So I'm sure he'll be fine sending me those ARM files. And then I will send those files to CNC Madness and say, hey, can you move these bolt holes? Can you slot these holes out a little bit? And I bet you they'll say, yeah, sure. And if they won't do it, I'll ask somebody else to. Random Baked Bean says, if you want to know for sure, type in CLI:VTX_info. Oh, that's cool. I've never done that, so I have to know. I have to see what comes up in the CLI when you type that in. That's cool. So that's going to tell me if it's FCC unlocked. That's awesome. VTX_info. Let's do it. Come on. VTX_info. I might have to type get in front of it, probably. VTX_info. Yeah, there. Let's just type get VTX. And that'll give me everything. So, what do we got here? VTX range, channel range rather, low power disarm, half duplex. Not in here. You sure that's? Type in CLI VTX_info. Yeah, what the hell? I bet you they changed it. I bet you they changed. This is Betaflight 4.4. What if I do get info? Nothing? Nah. Huh. VTX channel position, VTX voltage position, DVR, temp position, VTX band, channel, power. I don't see it. I think maybe they changed. Maybe that's a 0.5 thing. And this is on 0.4. Striker says, friend has a Tiny Hawk 3, AIO pooped. He types popped, but I like pooped better. We got a beta cross to slap in it, but tried to convince him to get better motors, etc. Running 802 15,000s on 1S on those shitty quad blades. It's so ass. Yeah, it would be on that. It would be on that setup. He doesn't need the performance. He's more of a Cinepilot, though, so I can see it. Were you thinking of getting a 75 Pro setup with... we were thinking of getting a 75 Pro setup with 1102 25,000s. Do you think that will be enough to do a naked GoPro? I don't know of any 1102s that are 25,000. But the answer is absolutely not on the naked GoPro thing. That won't have... Well, it depends. It depends on what naked GoPro setup. There are some really lightweight. The older school naked GoPro setups were very lightweight. The newer naked GoPro setups are not all that lightweight. Not nearly as lightweight. So it really does depend. 1102 22,000K. My mistake. Yeah, no, still. No way. 1S will not carry jack shit. 1S will carry walk snail. So 6 extra grams. That's about it. You got to go up to 2S if you want to carry pretty much anything external. YouTube just did the thing again. Trying to find my spot. There we go. If not that, what's the smallest quad that can carry 25-gram action camera? 2S. My tiny lifters, of which there are many live streams, testing, building, all that good stuff, carry 26-gram Insta360 Go. So that would be the lightest. Cole Powers says, Spaceman Spiff is a Calvin and Hobbes reference. Is it really? Very cool. Very cool. I never got into Calvin Hobbes, which pisses me off because I know it was really funny. But I was a Garfield guy growing up. Chomper FPV's in the house. What's up, homie? How are you? Striker says, meanwhile, I get 100 yards at most on 350 milliwatt M03 VTX. My fault for getting cheap goggles with a shitty receiver. Yeah, receivers help a lot. Martin Tanley says, how would one solder and use a 2G4 on HDZero? You wouldn't. The 2G4 has an internal VTX that I don't know if you can turn off. And so you're going to have an analog VTX transmitting, and then you're going to put HDZero on it, and that's going to be transmitting too, and it's just, they're going to shit all over each other. And the AIO is going to overheat because you're not going to have an antenna plugged into it. If you can find a way to deactivate the VTX on the 2G4, then if there are if there's a video out, well, I guess you wouldn't need a video out. You would just need 2 UARTs. You would need 1 UART. You would need an RX and a TX pad, because you're going to have to send those RX and TX pads to the HDZero to get OSD and shit like that. I don't know if the 2G4s have those. Is this a 2G4? It is. So there are some like absurdly small pads on the top of the 2G4. I don't consider those pads to be realistically usable. Technically they are, but anytime I've ever used those pads, the wire has broken off on the very first crash. Okay, yeah, on the bottom, there's an RX1 and a TX1 pad on the bottom that are not the insanely small pads. You could probably get that to work. I gotta be honest though, if you're gonna do just leave that 2G4 and have an analog rig, spend the $30 or $40 or whatever it is for a BetaFPV cross style AIO, which doesn't have a VTX built in, and just run that. Build a second rig for the HDZero setup. Also, the HDZero setup is not going to replace your analog build. It's going to be like a little tiny Cinewhoop that you can fly around like a Cinewhoop. Whereas your analog rig, you can fly around like a freestyle build because it's way lighter. So, yeah, that's going to be my recommendation. Don't use the 2G4 with HDZero. Build a second rig. Good question, Martin. Chris Adomo says, I always tape up my balance leads with a bit of electrical tape for all my quads. That's a good idea. Breaking your balance lead connector is a real pain in the ass, and it can easily start to short and burn that motherfucker down, so don't mess with that. I get from Brain 3D, he sells little balance lead jib jabs. That's the technical term for it. I just search for balance. I'm sure that I'll find it. There it is. So for $10, I think you get like 20 of these little simple, super lightweight TPU balance lead holders. These are, I also really like these because if I have a battery that's like this, that means that that battery has been discharged. It's just a super easy way to know if you've burned the battery or not. Because when you go to fly, you're going to put the balance lead in like this. So when you get home to charge it, you're going to take the balance lead out, you're going to plug it into your charger, you're going to charge the battery up, and that's it. You take it off the charger, you put it in your bag. You wait until you're about to fly it to do this. And that way you know. You do this, you put it on the quad, you fly the quad. It's now dead. You leave it like that when it's dead. You know what I mean? So it saves you from having to... What it really saves you from doing is putting a fully charged battery onto your parallel board with a bunch of batteries that you've discharged, and either blowing the fuse or just hammering on that one battery as it tries to dump all of its energy into the other batteries, which can potentially like cause a fire. So yeah, I run those little things for safety as well. Safety as well as protection, although protecting them is safe. Shane Hale says, how much for those batteries? Which batteries? Britain's Baked Beans says, if that doesn't work, then DFU is hijacked by GPS. Good call. Sometimes ELRS can hijack on UART1. Same with GPS. Same with components. Oh, what's that weird ass thing that happens? If you've got a component that is powered from USB on either an odd, or I forget what it was. It's either the odd numbered, somebody in the chat will remember, either the odd numbered UARTs or the even numbered UARTs. If you've got like a Crossfire Nano, for example, and it's being powered by a set of pads on the flight controller that's getting power from the USB, that can hijack and not let DFU mode work. And unbelievably, the solution to that is you have to take power away from that component. If you're going to do that, you might as well take it off of the odd numbered or the even numbered UART and change it. Somebody in chat will now back me up and say, yes, it's the even numbered UARTs that are the problem. You always want to use the odd numbered UARTs, or vice versa. I forget what it is. But yeah, there's man, I haven't dealt with that problem in a long time. Jesus. I used to know it offhand. I used to say, like, hey, we're building this thing. It's going to be analog. You want to make sure you use only the odd-numbered or only the even-numbered UARTs to save you from a pain in the ass. This is what Brandon is saying. The GPS is one of those components that can clog up and hijack one of the UARTs. And yeah, the easiest fix is the odd versus even deal. And then you can do that forever. Once you know the answer to that, you can always put components on even numbered UARTs and you'll be fine, or odd, whichever it is. Cole Power says DFU mode, if he hasn't had it working before, or if something happened to the system drivers, Impulse RC driver fix has saved me more than once. There's another good option if you're on a PC. I'm a Mac guy, so I don't run into any of that. But yeah, Impulse RC driver fixer apparently is a good go-to for like something weird is happening with my quad. Run that shit. It might help. If not, it doesn't take long to run it, supposedly. I've never even seen it though. I haven't been on a PC since I had an office job, so 3.5 years ago. COVID. Beginning of COVID. CMYK says, picked up 2 5-packs of Tattu and 2 DogComs, and they slap from Pyro. What are you noticing? More power or more runtime, or both? Tiny Shark FPV says, thank you for your ultimate freestyle Tiny Whoop. Enjoying it so much. Want all my rigs to fly like it. Thank you, dude. Enjoy. Yeah, that's a formula that just rails. Chick with a stick with another hair compliment. Thank you so much. SOS Death Valley says, I bought the Cross AIO from BetaFPV. Will it fit the new Coach Roach V3? Yes, absolutely it will. Shane Hale says, the 6S XT30 batteries you just held up and said you wanted to sell. Aha! What was your comment, though? I don't remember what your comment was. Oh, how much for those batteries? Just message me. I don't even know. Since they're brand new, whatever they sell for at... I think I got them from RDQ and Pyro drones. So, yeah, whatever they cost new, that's what I'm selling them for because they're new. I will cover the shipping so that I haven't, totally ripped you off. I will take at least a little bit of a loss on the shipping. But, yeah, whatever they sell for new. Chris Adomo says, DFU hijacked happened on one of my drones. I ended up unplugging or unsoldered everything to get it into DFU. Yeah, that's the it's such a pain in the ass, man. All right, nobody has said in the chat if it's even numbers or odd numbers, so let's see if Google can figure it out. Is it even or odd UARTs that have a problem with DFU hijacking? I used to work at a search engine optimization company, and this was many years ago. And one of the things that happened while I was working there is that Google rolled out either Penguin or Panda update, where they were really focusing on search like this, typing a full question into the search. This was back when smartphones started to be able to, like, this is the early days of Siri. And so when you talk to Siri, this is how you talk to Siri. And so you can type shit like back in the old days, you had to like know how to search for shit on Google. Like, and there were people that were good at it. We called it Google Fu. Like, how good is your Google Fu? Like Kung Fu. And like, yeah, you could find anything on Google, but you had to know how to search for it. You had to type a cryptic ass series of words into the search to really, have strong Google Fu. And yeah, the Penguin and Panda updates to Google really completely changed that. And it changed how search engine optimization had to be done too. And so that's why you can just type fucking straight up questions as if you're talking to a human being into Google. And a lot of times it will find the answer. If your board is not going into DFU mode, come on, tell me if it's even or odd. Chatty device connected to a UART, which is why it won't go in. Possible workarounds, come on. Shut the chatty device up by powering them down. Desoldering them, right? Use a power supply pad not powered by USB. That's what we were talking about. Oh, that's interesting. Many receivers don't send valid output until they are bound. That's pretty cool. Use half duplex protocol. Where there's just an even and odd is the easiest solution. Where is it? Avoid connecting. Oh man. Oh, hey, here we go. Avoid connecting chatty devices to bootloader sensitive UART ports. Bootloader sensitive UART ports on F4. Here we go. On F4 are P10. Oh, these are the on CL for CL Racing F4 and JB F4, UART1 and UART3 fall into this category. There you go. So so the odd numbered UARTs are the bad ones, basically. So start using even numbered UARTs whenever you plug stuff in. That's not going to cover every board, but every board I've ever tested, that is the case. That if you use the even numbered UARTs, you will not run into the DFU hijacking nonsense. Yeah, there you go. And I'm pretty sure, so that was talking about F4. I'm 99% sure that's been true on at least 2 different F7 flight controllers as well. So yeah, use the even numbered UARTs. Just in general, that's a good rule for everyone. If you've got 2 UARTs next to each other and one of them's even numbered, use it. There's a chance that it'll save you from that bullshit. Tiny Shark says, what's your suggested AIO stack for 2.5 to 3.5 inch drone? I don't have one. Everything that I run is long since discontinued. And like the new stuff is out of stock all the time. So like the short answer is whatever you can find in stock, which is like sometimes nothing. The slightly longer answer is the Speedy B 20x20 stack. People are using on 5-inch rigs and it's not blowing up. And it's like, isn't it like $5 or something? It's like 40 or 50 bucks. It's absurdly cheap. Maybe it's more expensive than that. I don't know, but you'll know the one. There's this 20x20 Speedy B stack that's hysterically inexpensive that somehow holds up to 5-inch rigs. So on a micro, it's going to last forever. It's going to be a little bit heavy because it's bigger and beefier for 5-inch rigs, but you'll be all right. And it's actually kind of nice because then if you get out of the micro world, you can use it on a 5-inch rig. So that would be sort of my easy go-to. Anything made by Acon or T-Motor, not anything made by T-Motor. The more expensive T-Motor stuff is really good. It's made by Acon. I don't know any of the new stuff. I don't. Because like it comes out, they sell it for 6 months, and then they discontinue it. And like, I'm lucky if I get it within those 6 months at all, let alone getting it into a build, let alone smashing the build enough to stress it. So that's a tough question. Cole Powers says Google has allegedly been intentionally degrading search performance because they are a monopoly. That's not very surprising. Super annoying, but not very surprising. All right, yo, let's troubleshoot this shit now that we have 15 whole minutes left. But we're gonna go long, yo. We're going long tonight. I hope you slept in today because we're streaming all night long. This stream will never end. It will end as soon as I'm done with this troubleshoot. So let me show you the problem first and foremost. I just need this. So this is a Mobula 7 1S ELRS. That this battery ain't gonna work. This is the battery that I need. So X12 AIO, Mobula 6 canopy, Runcam Nano 3. I've swapped on an ORT micro V antenna. Mobula 7 V4 frame. On the X12, I switched it over to BT 2.0. That's it. VCI 803 27,000 kV motors. And the left rear motor has begun twitching. And this is what a twitching motor looks like. If you have not had this happen to you yet, boy, are you lucky or brand new. This will happen to you before very long. This is a super common failure. Wrong module. All right. Come on, Express long-range system. There it is. All right, so this is what a twitchy motor looks like. You arm the quad, and one motor plays this shit. And sometimes you'll get a little beep from the ESC as it basically gives up. If the ESC is like, if a motor is like doing the twitching thing, it will only twitch for a set amount of time. The ESC knows it. The ESC knows that that's happening, and there's some sort of protection built in. And after a little bit of time, the ESC will go, nope, stop, because I assume that it's creating a bunch of heat in the FETs in that motor. So yeah, you'll hear it beep, and it'll stop, and it'll just give up. You got to disarm, and then you can try again. And one of the things that you'll get with the twitching motor, so this one back here is kind of sort of twitching, but what you're actually seeing is too low of an idle. More than likely, it might be another motor that's twitching, but It's the difference between a truly twitching motor and a motor that just has too low of a... You can kind of see every once in a while one of these motors will stop for a split second. That ain't it. This is a twitching motor. It has completely stopped. This little bit of nonsense you can fix, but, well, okay. Here's the first fix. And this will rule out if it's an actual twitching motor or if your startup power is too low. Hook it up to... I'm going to have to turn this off. Hook it up to the computer and go to ESCconfigurator.com. ESC-configurator.com, sorry. Come in here, click Connect, click Read Settings, and you're going to look at the startup power sliders. And if these are like all the way down here, that could be the problem. Move them all the way up. It's not really... I've never seen it hurt anything to move them all the way up. Regardless of the rig, just max them. While you're in here, check some other stuff. Make sure that your motor timing's set to 15 degrees medium. That's the best setting. Leave this shit alone. I like to set these beacon settings up here at like 120 or 130. It just makes the ESC beeper a little bit louder. Beacon delay, set this to 2 minutes. If you have plugged the rig in and you haven't armed it or done anything to it in 2 minutes, it'll start beeping, which might save you someday. Brake on stop, I like to turn that on, but you don't really need to. So that's the first thing you want to do. Make sure that your startup powers are maxed. This thing's getting hot, so let me unplug it for a second. Plug it back in, see if the motor twitching has stopped. I had those maxed out, so we don't, we obviously know that that's not the problem. At this point, you're going to probably want to, like, update BL Heli or Blue Jay or whatever you're on. Don't do that. It's the motor twitching stuff starts when you've crashed it or slammed it into something. The updating is not going to help anything. If it does, it's the problem is just going to come back. So yeah, that's not really a solution. Just like, whenever it feels like so many people, like if they have any problem with their quad, they dump Betaflight and reinstall it or try to find another flight firmware. That's not the answer. It's almost never going to help. Plugging it back in, battery on it. This is the next thing that you can check, especially if those are maxed out. Your next thing to check is in the motors tab, and it's your motor idle. See, I've got this really low 5.5 motor idle. This is almost certainly the problem for the other motors. So I'm just going to move it up to 6. That's not much of a change, but it will make a difference. Save and reboot. So just raise that. If you're at 5.5, raise it to like 8. Well, fuck it. Let's do that. Let's raise it to 8 and see if it and see if it helps this one motor. It shouldn't, but we will try it for science. All right, there we go. And cool. Battery's still plugged in. Transmitter coming on. Oh, I gotta wait for it to bind. Not bind, but connect. There it is. All right. Hey. Fix this one. Fix this one. Did you see it come to life? That's important. Twitch, 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 twitch. It's the next thing we're going to talk about. It gave up. It gave up on that one. Sometimes it'll come back to life like that and it'll be fine. And that's been the case with this rig. I've been able to continue flying this rig. So here's the full situation that this rig has been in. And this is very common. I'm going to kind of spoil the surprise here a little bit. When an ESC channel begins to die, before I go into this tirade, the next step is to figure out if it's the ESC or if it's the motor. And the easiest way to do that is to take that motor off and switch it with another one, which I might have done. I might have done that already, but just in case I haven't, I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch this motor and this motor. And we're going to see if the problem chases with the motor or if the problem stays the same. If the problem goes up here, then the motor is the problem. If the problem stays here, the ESC channel is the issue. Make sense? Here's what'll happen. You've got a rig that's flying great. You're crashing the shit out of it. You're bashing it. You're smashing it. You're using turtle mode like an idiot, the way that you shouldn't. We've talked about this in the past. Don't go full stick with turtle mode. Be gentle with turtle mode. And then you won't have this happen as often. You're crashing it, you're smashing it, and then you have like this one time where you arm it and it like won't take off, and it's like flipping over and it's acting really, really weird. But then you turtle mode it back over, you arm it, and it's fine for like 5 more batteries. And then it does it again. But then it's fine for 4 more batteries. And then it does it again. And it's fine for 3 more batteries. And then it does it again. And eventually, it's doing it over and over and over again in the same battery. This is almost always a FET dying. The ESC dying, basically. Because you can't really replace these FETs, right? So let's just call it the ESC dying. Because it's kind of what's happening. And I'm not totally sure that it's a FET dying. I'm pretty sure it is. But it doesn't matter. You can't replace them anyway. So the ESC is dying, right? And that is usually the case with this. Twitching motors are, I would say, like 90% of the time, you're warning that this ESC is about to fail. Depending on how cheap of a bastard you are, I'm a pretty cheap bastard. You can keep running it. It also depends on like how expensive the rig is and where you're going to be flying the rig, right? Like if you're just fucking around with a tiny whoop at home, whatever, run it until the point where that motor never spins up, because everything is recoverable around the house, right? But understand that your ESC is on its way out. This is one of the early signs that your ESC is on its way out. So just know that, understand that, put a red mark on it, do something so that you remember. Or just replace the damn thing, because it's going to go. And you're not going to get that many extra batteries out of it. But a couple of things that you can check first. This check that I'm doing right now is like the most important. I have switched these motors. I just remember. I remember doing this. But now you've seen me switch the motors. Incidentally, this is my second X12 AIO that is shitting the bed. I don't know if I'm going to get another X12. Especially if this HDLRC Spectre AIO is any good. This is probably my last X12. The first one died really fast. And I have heard from many people that they did not get many batteries out of their X12 AIOs before they died. The 2G4 is just magic. It's just a magical AIO that I don't even know if we deserve, but we've got it, sort of. Make sure you have a couple, because at some point they'll be gone forever, and I have a funny feeling that we will always look longingly back at the 2G4 as like one of the, if not the best, tiny whoop AIOs of all time. All right, so we've switched the motors. Might as well throw the props back on. Just so that... I'm actually only throwing the props back on so that you can see what the hell the motor's doing. All right. And now we do the exact same thing. Wait, no. I can just arm it. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Same thing. Arm it. See what happens. And it just gave up again. So, the problem did not go with the motor. The motors are fine. The problem stayed back here, even with a fresh motor. Not a fresh motor, but a motor that was working totally fine. So we've isolated that the problem is the ESC channel. You can look at the FETs and maybe you can see some damage, but probably not. They're so goddamn small. And like the damage is internal, right? Like once they show damage on the outside, they're completely blown up. Just to kind of show you what I said a minute ago, that you can kind of get these things to run for a little while longer. What that looks like is this. So like if this happens on the top of a building or something like that, this is what you can kind of do. So this is the bad motor here, right? So hopefully you'll be able to see it twitching, right? So you arm it, it's twitching. Just like try to kind of like work the throttle a little bit. So like there it goes. So what I did is I pushed the. I'll show you actually. I'll show you. So it's this motor, right? So this is the motor that makes it go like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pitch forward and roll right, because I want to send a little bit of extra power to this motor. I don't know why this works, but this works shockingly well. So it's switching. Just give it a little bit, little bit. Nope, it gave up. Try it again, and there it goes. So you can do that for a while, but it doesn't fix the problem, right? Like it's still gonna do this, and it's still gonna be a pain in the ass. Like this ESC is done, is almost dead, and see there, it's given up again. But you can kind of band-aid this shit by just giving that motor a little burst of power, and that just kind of gets it idling. And now this thing will fly fine, but then as soon as I crash and disarm and rearm, the problem comes back. So I mean, yeah, how much patience do you have at this point to keep going with this thing being a pain in the ass? For me, I will ignore it until it does it every time. When it starts doing it every time, it's too much. If anybody is willing to put up with this behavior, you can have this AIO. I will send it to you for the price of shipping, which is basically $5. So yeah, if you want a broken X12 AIO, it's all yours. I have no use for it. At this point, you've isolated that it's the ESC channel and not the motor. You've moved your idle speed up a bunch, all the way up to 8% in this case. You can keep going. It's not going to make a difference, but you can keep going. All the way up to 12% sometimes. Give it a shot. It won't help, but give it a shot. You've also turned up your ramp-up power in BL Heli, Blue Jay, BL Heli 32, whatever. And that just has led you right down the path of isolating where it is, trying the couple little things that every once in a while can kind of fix the problem. Although usually, almost always, it is the ESC starting to die. And when you do those things, if they help, they only help for another 15, 20 batteries. And then the problem gets worse and it comes back and you start, you can start playing that game where you're like putting band-aids on top of band-aids on top of band-aids on top of band-aids. The right solution is to buy an HDLRC Spectre, maybe. I've heard that this is a good AIO, though. So let's take a look. I didn't open this up during mailbag because I knew that this AIO was blown up. It comes with an XT30. It comes with a BT 2.0 whip antenna, some rubber grommets, a little, I guess this is a camera plug. It says safe flight on it. Oh, that's the instruction manual QR code. And some HDLRC stickers. Here is the AIO, of course. Let's take a look. One of the things I want to check right off the bat is, so it's got the shrunken down sizing. Will it fit in a Meteor 75 Pro frame? The frame that we have all kinds of problems fitting. Well, here's a 75 Pro frame. Let's just take a super quick look here. Although I think this frame fits everything. Everything but this, apparently. What the hell? What is it hitting on? Okay, well, it won't fit in a 75 Pro frame. That's good to know, and It's kind of annoying because I wanted to put this rig into this frame. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, that's hitting bad. Oh, yeah, there's no way to get that to work. What if we rotate it 90 degrees? Nope. Okay, well. That kind of sucks. The motor plugs are hitting something awful. Yeah, no. You ain't using this AIO on a Meteor 75 Pro frame. Absolutely not. That probably means it won't work in the 75 Air frame either, but I should have one floating around. We can check it real quick here. Is this it? This is it. Here's a Meteor 75 Pro. I'm sorry, Meteor 75 Air frame, the lightweight one. Let's see if it fits here. Ooh, it might. It might. Are you clearing? Or are you hitting? It's close. Oh yeah, it's fine. That's awesome. I love that. Meteor 75 Air frame approved. Yep. Just barely clears it. Awesome. That's really good news. I can't imagine it won't fit a Mobula 7 V4 frame, but we'll check it anyway. So this is an AIO with 10 amp FETs. And so as far as I'm concerned, this is a 75 millimeter only AIO. There's really no reason to run this AIO on a 65 millimeter build. And I'm sure it'll probably fit in all of the 65 millimeter frames. This is a Mobula 6 2024 frame, just out of curiosity. It fits totally fine in there. Is this another 75 Air frame? Yeah. Here's the Mobula 7 V4 frame. And I can't imagine that it won't fit in here. Yeah, totally easy. Perfect. Yeah, so it fits in there as well. This is a big 85 millimeter frame. I think this is the BetaFPV 85 millimeter frame. Just weirdly curious. Fits in there. That's cool. So, awesome. It fits in the two most popular and, as far as I'm concerned, best 75 millimeter frames. I'm really happy that it fits in the 75 Air frame because the X12 does not, nor does the 2G4. So for this build with this Spectre, I'm going to put it into an Air frame, actually. I'm going to move it out of the Mobula 6 V4 frame. That's awesome. I've been using these Air frames on the Walk Snail 75 millimeter builds with the Beta Cross style AIOs, and they've been great. They're a full gram lighter than the Mobula 7 V4 frame, which is a lot. That's a legitimate amount of weight savings, and they seem to be really durable too. Brandon's Baked Bean says 30 dead time ESCs on 1S need idle of like 12% and the motor's tab to start. Having minimum startup all the way is 12.5%, so that makes sense. Nice. Oh, I didn't connect. That was a funny screen to freeze on. That was a funny face to freeze on, I should say. I didn't connect the fact that the idle in Betaflight is basically doing the same thing as those sliders in Blue Jay. I just never thought about it. Cole Power says, see, this is where that 5th ESC channel could come in handy. Loch Ness FPV says, what is the influence on ESC timing? It's similar to gasoline engine timing. Chris Rosser has an excellent video on ESC settings. You should just watch that. He goes into it. The long and short of it, though, if you want to save 25 minutes, is the 15 degrees medium setting is the one that works the best. So you can just kind of run it on everything. Italian Made Man says, why do they call it Meteor 75 Pro when the wheelbase is 85? The wheelbase is actually like 80. I have no idea why they call it 75 Pro. It's insane. Chris Adorno says, is it going to be a 2S whoop? It is not. I already have the 2S build back there. This is a 1S analog build. Yeah, this has a VTX built in, and quite honestly, 2S on an analog 75mm whoop is just sort of unnecessary. You can make plenty of power to weight ratio on an analog 75 on 1S. And it makes keeping the weight down a lot easier. 2S is for the walk snail builds that start to get heavier. Martin Tanley spelled my name wrong. He says, I thought it was in my head, but is there a reason when I change transmitter power in my Radio Master, the flight performance feels different? The only thing that would make sense is if when you're changing the transmitter power, the packet rate is also changing. So make sure that that's not happening. That's the only possible reason that that should matter. That should influence it. What are we doing? It is 10 after 12. At this point, what I'm going to do is take this apart and swap the AIO. You guys have seen me do that a bunch of times. And I have to take a shit. So just pretend like I'm now taking all these screws out, and I don't know if I'm going to keep these motors on. These motors are super interesting and they're super fun. I'm going to keep these motors on. This is a super overpowered analog 75mm rig, but I'm unbelievably curious about the durability of the 1mm motor shaft on these motors and on the 703 VCIs. So I'm going to keep running these motors, and I'm just going to pound the living hell out of this thing and see how much abuse these motor shafts can take. So yeah, I'm going to take these motors off the frame, put them on the airframe, take the camera and canopy out. What is the camera situation here? Why do they give you this? The camera needs to be direct soldered here. I have absolutely no idea why they give you this little plug. Is this a... This is a motor plug, isn't it? It is. This is weird. I don't know why they would give you one single motor plug. Whatever. Yeah, this fits in that. This fits in the 75 airframe. The pad layout should work totally fine. The ceramic antenna will probably need to be removed. It's on the side here. I can tell you right now, actually. So this is the Mobula 6 old school canopy, and oh wow, it almost clears. Holy shit, it clears. No. Oh my god, it does. Look at this, yo. I have a funny feeling that HDLRC did this on purpose. You'll see what I mean in a second. Look at that. Come on, focus, you bitch. There is nothing else to focus on. There it is. Look at that ceramic antenna nestled perfectly in that little tiny gap in the Mobula 6 canopy. Look at that. That's incredible. I was assuming I was going to have to break it off and replace it with a piece of wire, but it looks like it'll be totally fine. And this is with no grommets. This canopy will move up a little bit once the rubber grommets are in there. So that is amazing. I did not expect that at all. That is a huge little plus that you don't have to do that. Damn, dude. This AIO could be really, really good. The pads are all on the sides. They'll be easy to solder to. So I'm going to have to direct solder the... that's why... that's one of the reasons that I got those extra Nano 3s. The direct solder... these are called Emax Nano Hawk Runcam Nano 3s. And the only difference from the... Well, they are brighter. It's a very bright version of the Runcam Nano 3. But the main differentiation is that there's no camera plug on it. So, yeah, I will direct solder this up to this guy, and I got to put BT 2.0 on it, and that's it. It'll be back together, and we will be big power analog tiny whooping again. Cole Powers with the last comment of the live stream. He says the power output may make flight performance better if you're suffering loss/interference. If they aren't watching LQ, maybe they should. I took the question as when the transmitter power goes up, the latency goes up with it. So that's what was making me think that it's a packet rate difference, right? Like going from 500 to 200 or something like that. But if it's the other way around, if when you raise the transmitter power, it feels like the latency gets better, then yeah, you might have been having like micro fail-safes and weird shit like that from the lower transmitter power. There you go, friends. Thanks for hanging. I wanted to get more work than this done on this rig, but welcome to CiottiFPV's live streams. Me talking about the work is just as good though, because you know it's just unscrewing screws. It's a little bit of soldering. If you guys are still uncomfortable with soldering, by all means, at any point in the live stream, ask me soldering questions, and I will come over here and I will give you very specific tips, which will absolutely help you out. So yeah, don't wait. Ask them questions, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Captain Shitbird. Thanks for hanging out. CiottiFPV.com if you want to support me. I would greatly appreciate it. It's the only way I've been able to do this full time, and I would love to keep doing it. Tip your waiters and waitresses and suck a fat one, you bastards. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that outburst. I love you guys. Be good. I'll see you Whoop Wednesday. What did I say we were going to do? I don't remember. It's not important. Here's a little bit more flying from this Emax. No, I'm not going to subject you to that. Here's some Meteor 75 Pro flying. Unbelievable how good this thing flies. The only thing I've changed is to put the HQ ultralight 45mm biblades on it, which made a big difference. They are a hell of a propeller. See you guys Wednesday. Love you. Bye.